These are my AFC East predictions, and my AFC champion may come to as a surprise to you, as well as the team in second place. A lot of interesting matchups here. You're gonna want to stick around to the end. There's so many crazy games, matchups. You're gonna be surprised with the records, man. Oh my gosh! And my AFC champion is going to be... What is good, YouTube? It's Joey, and today we're continuing with the predictions. Like and subscribe, road to 400. If you're a new subscriber, press subscribe, or hit that subscribe anyways, any single one of you. But if you're new here and you subscribed, comment down below saying I subscribe. So if you subscribe to me, comment down below saying I subscribe. Really appreciate it. But anyways, also let me know what you guys think about this down in the comment section. Let's get more of you down in there. Discord is also in the link in the description. But anyways, we're doing the AFC East today. So this is going to be pretty interesting. We're starting off with the Patriots Dolphins week 1. So I don't think Mac Jones is going to be starting right away. They re-signed Cam to a 1-year deal, so I think they're going to start Cam and let Mac Jones sit. But the Patriots are a team that did a lot during the offseason. Mainly through free agency, and they got guys in the draft too. They fixed up a lot of spots, namely tight end with Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry. I think they got better there. I'm still not really 100% confident in their receiving core, which I can see as a weakness versus the Dolphins week 1, because the Dolphins just have an insane secondary, and the Patriots receivers, I think, are going to struggle a little bit. I mean, you have Nelson Aguilar, and you add Kendrick Bourne, you have Jacoby Myers, who is solid, but Edelman's no longer there. I don't really like the passing attack, but the Patriots are probably going to be a run-first team again this year, but they have more well-equipped. They're better equipped in the passing game. Cam Newton's doing some work in the off-seasons with this throw-in motion and everything, but they have a better defense, and I think that's going to be able to hamper the Dolphins a little bit. It's an interesting back-and-forth game because of the Dolphins' speed at their wide receiver core, but I'm going to go ahead. I mean, they're also well head coached with Brian Flores. It's two coaching staffs I like, 2 quarterbacks I'm not really confident in. I'd give the Dolphins weapons a little bit of an edge here, but I'd give the Patriots defense. I like both defenses. I'm going to go with the Patriots, though. I think it's going to be kind of a run-first kind of defensive type approach for the Patriots here. It's an interesting matchup, but I'm going to take the Patriots in week 1. And then week 2, the Jets-Patriots game. Zach Wilson is going to be starting, but I like the Patriots corners versus this Jets wide receiver core. I think the Patriots have deep corners with Gilmore, J.C. Jackson, Jonathan Jones. They have veterans in the secondary like McCourty. They get Mills and guys back there. They have Dante Hightower returning, so I think I like the Patriots defense against Zach Wilson week 2. Maybe they're still figuring themselves out. I really like the Patriots offensive line. They have like one of the best offensive lines in football, and they're just so stacked across the offensive line. And the Jets secondary is pretty weak, so I don't think this is a good matchup for the Jets whatsoever. So I think the Patriots come out the gate strong 2-0. And then they have the Saints next. The Saints, who lost a lot of talent. Who are they going to be starting? I'm assuming it's Jameis Winston. Who knows if Sean Payton can fix his turnover issues. But I'm assuming it's going to be Jameis Winston here. don't think that passing game is really going to be able to do that much. Sean Payton's going to have to outthink Belichick, and that's going to be a really interesting matchup, offense versus defense, but I don't think they're going to get much in the passing game going. I like Gilmore against Michael Thomas. That's going to be interesting, but I think Gilmore could do a solid job there. And I think the Saints secondary took quite a hit losing Janoris Jenkins. They still have Marshawn Lattimore, but they really didn't have that good of a draft. They cleared all of that cap space. I don't know how. But the Saints got worse. The Patriots got better during the offseason. And I think that the Patriots are going to win. I think they have favorable matchups early on in the season. And now week 4, which could be a possible Super Bowl preview. But the only thing is, I don't think Cam Newton is going to beat Tom Brady. I'm not confident in Cam Newton leading the Patriots to the Super Bowl. If they just had like a really good wide receiver and a better quarterback, I'd be more sold on the Patriots. But this one's interesting. The Patriots' offensive line is a strength versus the Buccaneers' pass rush is a strength. You could say the Buccaneers' weakness, which they don't really have any, is their secondary, which is improving and getting better. So it's like, what do you do there? The Patriots' defensive line with Kyle Van Noy, Matt Judon, they add Barmore, Godshon there. They have good inside linebackers. So that's going to be interesting. The Patriots' deep secondary against Tom Brady's offense. I just think it comes down to the quarterback here and the coaching staff. It's going to come down to Brady, Belichick, and it's in Gillette Stadium. It's just I don't have enough confidence in Cam Newton here. That's what's really bothering me here. I don't think he has enough. The tight ends might be a little bit helpful, but again, the Buccaneers have those linebackers with Devin White, Levante David. So I'm going to take the Buccaneers just because I'm going to take Tom Brady over Cam Newton, and that's going to hand the Patriots their first loss of the season. But over here, you have the Patriots versus the Texans. It's a bad matchup for the Texans. I don't know what game the Texans are going to win. They're going to go like 0-18. I don't know. The Texans are bad. Without Deshaun Watson, they're bad. They lost Will Fuller. They have no offensive. Well, they actually have some pieces there with Marcus Cannon, Laramie Tunsil. They have some young guys, but the offensive line is nothing to write home about. They don't really have much in the running back room. They add Ingram, but is that going to make a difference? Tight ends, they don't really have anything. Defense, they lose J.J. Watt. They're relying on Merciless and guys like as their best pass rusher at quarterback. They're stuck with Tyrod Taylor or the rookie they drafted in like the 3rd round. And secondary, they struggled last year. Run defense, they struggled. Everywhere the Texans struggle. So I think it's an easy win for the Patriots. Week 6, you have the Cowboys Patriots. This one's another interesting one. The Cowboys have the overpowered offense, but that defense is just really kind of leaky there. They don't get that corner that I was wishing they were going to get. They didn't get J.C. Horn or Patrick Surtain. They instead get Micah Parsons, which is interesting. I don't really like the pick. They didn't really need a linebacker on the defense. They needed an edge rusher or a corner, something. But I'm just not sold on the Cowboys defense, and I think the Patriots defense is underrated, and I think they're going to be back. So I'm going to take the Patriots. It's the NFL's 2 most hated teams facing off against each other. So that's going to be interesting. And then you have week 7, the Jets on a bye against the Patriots. I just don't see it for the Jets. I think it's just a rough matchup. The Jets got better offensive line, but there's still a little bit of holes there. I like Mekhi Becton, and they drafted Elijah Vera Tucker. I think that was good. But Zach Wilson, Corey Davis, could get locked up by Gilmore. I just don't really like it for the Jets. And defensively, I just don't like the Jets cornerback group at all. So I'm going to take the Patriots there. When I predicted the AFC West, I had the Patriots beating the Chargers. I mean, that's what I had. And I think I'm going to stick with it here. I'm just not the biggest fan of the Chargers secondary. I like their offense, but it's an interesting matchup. I think the Patriots just have a complete roster. I think they're going to get that win on the road. It's a little iffy, but I think the Patriots are going to get that. Panthers-Patriots is a pretty interesting game here. Justin Herbert, or no, not Justin Herbert, Sam Darnold versus Cam Newton. So interesting quarterback matchup. The Panthers are pretty deep at wide receiver, but they have an all right offensive. I think the Panthers could move the ball in this matchup. They have a pretty underrated defensive front with Reddick. They got Reddick on a really cheap deal. They have Brian Burns, Derek Brown. They got J.C. Horn, but it's a young up-and-coming defense. They got Jeremy Chin, who was in the running for Rookie of the Year. I just don't know about this one, man. I just don't have enough confidence in the Panthers. I think the Patriots just have a lot of favorable matchups here. Just a lot of teams that aren't really that good. They have a pretty easy schedule. So I think they're going to beat the Panthers. Now Browns versus Patriots. I have the Browns 9-0 right now. I just really like the Browns roster. But Browns Patriots here. This one's tough. The Browns are probably gonna want to play smash mouth football, get the run established with Nick Chubb, create the play action pass game. OBJ is going to be healthy. Kevin Stefanski versus Bill Belichick, a little bit of that. I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure who to pick. The Browns secondary is pretty good against the Patriots wide receivers, but the tight ends might make a difference, and that interior run defense for the Browns is going to be tested by New England, and that added Cam Newton running effect is in there, and who knows, maybe Mac Jones is in here by week 10 instead of Newton. You never know. So, do I take the Patriots or the Browns? Bill Belichick versus Stefanski. This is really interesting. It's just the Browns are going to have to establish that run game. The Patriots get Barmore and Godshaw in there. They get stronger up front. I'm feeling a Patriots upset here. They're at home. I just think Bill Belichick's going to come in there with a game plan to slow down the Browns offense, and I think the Patriots are just going to win a smash mouth game in the cold weather. That's just the way I see it going, but it could go either way. I could have the Browns here, but I'm going to take the Patriots. Patriots, Falcons. I'm going to have to take the Patriots. The Falcons, poor guys, they have to play the Patriots and the Buccaneers next year. So I'm not really sold on the Falcons. They have a good offense. Don't get me wrong there. But I'm just not sold on their defense. Julio Jones might even get traded to the Patriots. This is being made before that happens. If Julio was on the Patriots, they might be an even better team. But I have the Patriots beating the Falcons. I think that's an easy win. Patriots Titans here. Titans secondary took a major hit. Their wide receiver core took a major hit. They can still run the ball with Derrick Henry. You saw the way that went last time they played. Titans could be in for a little bit of an upset, but I just don't like the receivers or the secondary enough. Oh, I just took it away. But I still have my predictions, never fear. So I have the Patriots, but I am going to take the Bills here. Week 13, the Patriots just winning too many games in a row. I think they hit a little brick wall here on the road against the Bills. Josh Allen improving. Stephon Diggs versus Gilmore is going to be interesting, but the Bills have a lot of depth at wide receiver. And they still have a solid O-line. Can they figure out a run game? Who knows? But defensively, they got Rousseau in the draft, and I don't know if that's going to really pan out. But I like the Bills secondary. I think they can get this win and get a little bit of the Patriots off their swag. I just like Josh Allen over Cam Newton quite a bit here. So Patriots versus the Colts. This one's interesting. The Colts actually have a solid pass rush. They doubled down on pass rush during the draft. They still have a good defense. And Carson Wentz, and I just don't like the receiving core. But the Colts got Eric Fisher too, so they're really good on the offensive line. So I think the Colts are going to have to play a defensive run first game. Carson Wentz reunited with Frank Reich is going to be interesting, but they have T.Y. Hilton and Michael Pittman, and I'm not really that sold on their wide receiver core. But I like their offensive line. I think the Colts can pull an upset. They're both off a bye, but I think the Colts could win. So that's 2 straight losses for the Patriots. Do they take a third loss though? Bills, Patriots again. The Patriots. Do I really want the Colts beating the Patriots? Yeah, I'm gonna keep it like that. Bills, Patriots again. I just like Josh Allen way more than I like Cam Newton here. In this matchup, I like the Bills receiver core over the Patriots receiver core, but the Patriots definitely can run the ball better, and they have a good defense. That could lock up. I think the Patriots and Bills will end up splitting in this one. I think the Patriots get a physical, tough win at home, running the ball, playing defense, keeping Josh Allen on the sidelines, and winning that. Patriots, Jaguars, I'm going to have to take the Patriots here. Against the Jags, I think that's how it's going to play out. Trevor Lawrence and that young team, I just don't think they have enough right now. So I'm going to take the Patriots. The Jaguars defense has a way to come, and that offense is talented, but I'm just really not sold on the Jags just yet. Dolphins, Patriots. The Dolphins are always a thorn on the side for the Patriots for one game on the year, and it's usually when they have to go down to Florida. It's Cam versus Tua. The Dolphins have speed in their receiving core, and that secondary can lock up, and that front seven could slow down the Patriots. The Dolphins are well coached. I had the Patriots taking that in week 1, but the Dolphins always do this with the Patriots. So I have the Patriots splitting with the Bills and the Dolphins. I have them sweeping the Jets, and the Patriots get to play the NFC East, the AFC South. So those are really 2 easy ones there, and they're not playing a first round schedule. So the Patriots have a pretty easy schedule with a pretty good team, just with an iffy quarterback and wide receiver core, but they have a lot of favorable matchups. I'm surprised that they go 13-4, but I reasoned through every game. I think these are reasonable predictions. I mean, Texans, Cowboys, Jets, Chargers, Panthers. The Browns-Patriots game was really difficult to decide. I almost went Browns there, but I just picked the Patriots there because of the matchup. I think they could take down the Browns. But that was the Patriots predictions, 13-4. I did not think they would go that good, but they have an easy schedule. So moving on to the Dolphins, I had them splitting with the Patriots. Like I said, that matchup's interesting. The Dolphins secondary, definitely better than the Patriots wide receiver core. The Dolphins skill positions in terms of secondary and wide receivers match up against the Patriots better probably, but up front they're not as good, and quarterback coach is about the same. But Week 2, Bills Dolphins. The Bills put up a lot of points last year in that Week 17 game. I like Josh Allen over Tua Tagovailoa, so I'm going to take the Bills there over the Dolphins. I like them there. Dolphins Raiders. I have the Raiders doing terrible. I don't know why. I just couldn't find a game that the Raiders could really win. The Raiders are flawed outside of skill positions, and they're really flawed. Their offensive line was torn apart. They don't really have much of a defense outside of that pass rush with Ngakoue and Crosby, but I don't really like the defense that much. They didn't really have that good of a draft. They got Moreg. That's about it. Colts Dolphins. This one's interesting. I like the Colts defense versus the Dolphins offense. Although those wide receivers could get open for Tua, but they're speedy wideouts, and Tua doesn't have the strongest arm, so is that going to play a role? But Tua has chemistry with Jalen Waddle. But defensively, the Dolphins, I like their defense versus the Colts offense. So it's like, who's going to win here? The Dolphins are at home. I'm going to take the Dolphins here, surprisingly, because I think those wide receivers could get open. I like the pass rush versus Tua, but that Dolphins defense is really the deciding factor for me. So I'm going to take the Dolphins there. Then Buccaneers Dolphins. I got to take the Buccaneers, man. I'm taking the Buccaneers because that pass rush, I think it's going to be overwhelming for the Dolphins. Tom Brady, I like him much more than Tua in this matchup. That secondary could hold its own a little bit, but that offensive line of the Bucs is really good, and that defense, I think, will propel the Bucs to a win. Dolphins Jaguars. I'm gonna say Jaguars here. Trevor versus Tua. I like Trevor over Tua. The Jaguars have a young, promising wide receiver core. The Dolphins have a nice secondary, but I think the Jaguars, by week 6, Trevor's kind of feeling himself a little bit. Defensively, the Jaguars got better in the secondary with Shaquille Griffin. They have CJ Henderson back there. They got the young safety. So I'm kind of picking an upset here. These upset games always happen, so I'm just feeling this one for the Jags. Dolphins, Falcons. Falcons coming off a bye week of rest. I'm just not sure if the Falcons can pull this one off. The Falcons have a nice, young, promising offense outside of Julio and Matt Ryan, but the Dolphins are just too good defensively, and they are equipped on the offensive side to beat the Falcons. So they're drawn even at 4-4, but unfortunately, the Bills come back in town and beat them. Coming off a bye, I like the Bills here. I think they could put up enough points, and I just like Josh Allen over Tua. I just think that's a huge quarterback mismatch there, and I'm going to take the Bills. I mean, the Dolphins, they could end up splitting, but it's the Bills off a bye, and I think the Bills, the Bills games last year against the Dolphins, I think the Bills could win this game. Dolphins Texans, though, I'm going to take the Dolphins. Whoever's that quarterback for the Texans, where it's not Deshaun Watson, I think the Dolphins could easily win, and their defense is good enough to beat the Texans. Ravens Dolphins, I'm going to have to take the I don't know if I want to take the Ravens because that secondary could be a mismatch. Brian Flores coming in with a nice defensive game plan against Lamar. Ooh, that one's a little sketchy, but then again, the Ravens have a young, inexperienced pass rush, but they have a good secondary. So it's like, who do you pick? I'm going to pick the Dolphins. I think they could come in there with the defensive game plan for Lamar. I don't like the Ravens' passing attack quite enough. So I'm going to actually take the Dolphins, surprisingly. Dolphins versus Jets. I'm going to say the Dolphins split this series. The Jets, first time around, I think Zach Wilson could create some magic. That Dolphins secondary could hold up versus the Jets. But Robert Saleh, I think, could come in with the game plan. Although I like the Dolphins wide receiver core to beat up on the Jets secondary. I think the Jets pass rush could get after it. So that's why I'm going to split them. I'm going to split them for that. A lot of interesting matchups. But these divisional round games, man, they go either way. So they're tough to predict. But Panthers Dolphins. This one's another interesting one. Panthers got that young defense, but I like their pass rush here against that Dolphins offensive line. That secondary is going to be tested though, but I think the Panthers could be up for the test there. So it's going to be tough, but I like Sam Darnold in this offense over Tua, although I could see Brian Flores pulling out the defensive game plan, but the Panthers just have so many weapons on offense that I think it ends up being a win for them. So you come into the week 13 with the Giants versus the Dolphins. The Giants defense, I think I like a lot versus this Dolphins team. And the Giants have the wide receiving core. It comes down to the coaching staff. I like both coaching staffs a lot. It just comes down to quarterback, which quarterbacks I like the best. Do I like Daniel Jones too? I don't like either of them. But the Giants, Saquon Barkley might be the difference maker here. I'm going to take the Giants on the road in Miami. So they drop 2 straight, but they have a game, Jets-Dolphins. I already split them. Saints-Dolphins, Saints offensive line. They're going to have to run the ball here, and I think Brian Flores knows that. They're going to try to contain Kamara, but on the other side of the ball, the Dolphins versus that defense, Will Fuller, Jalen Waddle, one of them going to get free, and Tua's going to have to find something. Sean Payton versus Brian Flores is going to be interesting. I like the Saints pass rush against the Dolphins pass protection though, so that's one I'm kind of iffy on. But Tua doesn't turn the ball over. Jameis Winston can. So that's why I'm going to pick the Dolphins. It's a very interesting game to figure out. But Titans-Dolphins here. The Titans passing attack might struggle a little bit, so they're going to have to rely on Derrick Henry. Is he going to have a big game? Is Brian Flores going to be able to plan to stop it? I'm not completely sure that the Dolphins front is quite ready for some Derrick Henry, but on the flip side, the Titans secondary struggles, but they did up that front 7. But Titans, Mike Vrabel, Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, AJ Brown. I think that's going to be enough to get the win there. And then I had the Dolphins beating the Patriots week 18 because they always do that. So I have them 8-9. They could go 9-8. They could go 10-7. They could go 7-9 or 7-10. It's getting weird adjusting those 17 games. But they're a team with promise, but I don't know if Tua can take them far enough. I don't know if they have a good enough offensive line. They have a harder schedule than the Patriots, I'm pretty sure. We're going to have to see. But next, we got to predict these Buffalo Bills. Are they going to be able to do better than 13-4? They split against the Patriots. That's what I have. Bills Steelers week 1. This one's interesting. I think the Bills can score on the Steelers week 1. And I just really think the Steelers are just really not going to be that good next year, because that offense, skill positions are good, but fundamentally they just are not there with the coaching staff, with the quarterback, which is where teams need to start to be good. And then the offensive line, where the running the ball and passing the ball starts, they have some issues off the field with dancing on logos and stuff. So I'm not sold on the Steelers, but I had the Bills beating the Dolphins week 2. So they're starting off a strong 2-0. But week 3, football team versus Bills. The football team's defense is so good. I'm talking really good. They have a great pass rush. They could get after Josh Allen, and they have a good secondary, a much improved secondary. And then offensively, they got Fitzpatrick. I like Josh Allen over Fitzpatrick. Those receivers versus those corners is going to be interesting. Could that pass rush of Buffalo get after it? It's going to be come down to the Washington offense versus the Buffalo defense. 2 things I'm skeptical about. I'm going to take the Bills. I think Josh Allen and that offense is going to find some way, somehow, to win offense over defense. So I'm going to take that. No, actually, I'm going to take the football team. Do I do that, though? No, I'm going to take the Bills. Offense over defense. I love the football team's defense. It's might be the best in the NFL, but I'm just going to stick with the Bills. I don't think the football team has enough offense. Texans, Bills. Give me Bills. Do we really have to talk about this? Josh Allen's going to throw for millions of yards. The Texans' offense is never going to stand a chance. Bills over Texans. I had the Chiefs over Bills in my AFC West predictions. Go watch that, please. I had the Chiefs over them. Mahomes and company. Andy Reid can figure stuff out to score. And then I like the Chiefs defense to make enough plays. The Bills didn't really match up well enough in the AFC Championship. So I had the Chiefs winning. Bills Titans. The Titans last year came and absolutely wrecked the Bills. But this time around, the Titans don't really have the secondary to really pose much of a threat. Oh my gosh. The Titans don't really have the secondary to pose a real threat to the Bills. So I'm going to have to take the Bills here. I think Josh Allen's passing attack are going to be too much for the Titans to slow down. Then after the bye, I had the Bills beating the Dolphins. Did I have them splitting? No, I had them sweeping the Fins. So week 9, Bills Jaguars. I'm gonna have to take the Bills here. Josh Allen over Trevor. The Jaguars are gonna have to have 1 or 2 years before they're actually any kind of good. So I have the Bills over the Jags. And then Bills versus Jets. Do I take the Jets in an upset? No, I don't. I don't think I do. It's just like, do we know what these rookie quarterbacks are really going to be? I don't think we know what these rookie quarterbacks are really going to be. So I got the Bills over the Jets. The Jets secondary is weak. I don't think they're up to the challenge for the Bills passing attack. So I got the Bills there. Then you got the Bills versus the Colts. Another interesting matchup. I just don't know if the Colts have enough offensive firepower. If the Colts could play defense and have enough offense to win, that would get the job done here. But I'm going to take the Bills. I think they're going to be, if they start out fast, up and keep cruising, I think they can do that. Bills Saints, another matchup. I don't think it's going to go the Saints' way. They're going to have to run the ball and get after the quarterback. And they could do that. But it's, again, the quarterback mismatch. Jameis Winston and Josh Allen. Give me Josh Allen all day. Then I have the Bills splitting with the Pats. And then the last game that the Bills could realistically lose. Bills versus Bucks. This one's going to be a tough one. I don't think the Bills should even bother trying to run the ball versus the Buccaneers because the Buccaneers have the best run defense in the NFL by far. And the Bills struggled to run the ball. So I don't think the Bills should really be trying to run the ball. So they're going to have to throw it. And it's going to be interesting to see if they can. I think they can score, but it's like, does the Buccaneers pass rush have enough there? But I'm just not confident in the Bills pass rush to get Tom Brady uncomfortable. So that's the thing. I think Tom's going to have enough time to sit back there and find the open guys. So that's why I'm going to take the Buccaneers week 14. But week 15, you have the Panthers versus the Bills. I think the Panthers defense is just too young right now, but next year they could be pretty good. But I just like the Bills passing attack here. It's going to be an offensive battle, but the Josh Allen, I think, pulls through in the end. I have the Bills Patriots splitting. I like the Bills versus the Falcons. If they do get in a shootout, I like the Bills offense to win that shootout. I don't think the Falcons have enough defensive firepower to win that game. And then week 18, I think the Bills beat the Jets to go a record of 14-3 to win the AFC East by one game over the Patriots. I just want to see real quick, what if I had the Patriots losing to the Dolphins? That would still mean the Bills win the division. Bills win. So we have one last team to predict. Jets Panthers week 1. Robbie Anderson facing his former team. It's going to be a shootout. I'm just going to tell you right now. And it's just which defense do I like better? I like the Panthers defense better. Give me the Panthers week 1. Two teams that traded with each other in the Sam Darnold trade. Robbie Anderson facing his former team. I just like the Panthers defense more than the Jets, so I'm going to take that. I had the Patriots beating the Jets. We already explained that earlier. I had the Broncos beating the Jets because of the pass rush and secondary. I think that's going to win the Broncos a ton of games. I had them 11-6. But Titans, Jets. Give me the Titans here. I think that Derrick Henry is going to have a game. I think Ryan Tannehill is going to have an easier time throwing the ball here against that Jets secondary. So give me the Titans. Zach Wilson could put up points and win this game for sure. But give me the Titans there. Falcons, Jets. I think the Falcons just have too much offensive firepower to win that game. So give me them there. So Bengals versus Jets. I already had the Patriots there. Actually, this is the shootout here up here. Jets Falcons. But I don't like the Jets secondary. I guess the Falcons secondary is better than the Jets secondary, just barely. That's not really saying much. But up front, the Jets have a better pass rush. But I'm feeling the Falcons there. Give me the Falcons. Jets versus Bengals. Ooh, Joe Burrow versus. I think the Jets pass rush could get after Burrow, but Burrow's receivers would be flying open. So, ooh, which one do I take there? Yeah, Burrow would be hitting open receivers. I like the Bengals secondary more, but I don't like their pass rush more, and I don't like their offensive line. So I'm going to have to Robert Saleh. I think the Jets have the coordinator mismatch. I think they finally get a win here down the stretch. Jets versus Colts here. The Colts have a promising young pass rush, and I think they're going to find success in that pass game. So I think the Colts are going to take that win over the Jets. The Bills beating the Jets, the Jets splitting with the Dolphins, and then the Jets, the Texans. I think the Jets find a win here against the Texans. Texans could potentially upset, but I think Zach Wilson and the boys are going to be ready to win that game. Week 13, Eagles versus Jets. Jalen Hurts versus Zach Wilson. So that's leaning towards Zach Wilson. I like the Eagles pass rush. I like the Jets pass rush. I don't like either secondary, but if I were to pick a secondary, I'd say the Eagles have the better secondary. Jets have better linebackers. I'm going to have to take the Jets here. So they're kind of finding some steam at 4-10, but I'm going to have to say the Saints grab a little surprising win here. I think they're just more fundamentally sound. I like the coaching staff. I think they gotta find an upset here. They still have talent. They still have the offensive line in the run game, which I think they can take advantage of, although the Jets were good versus that. But the Jets' leaky secondary could lead to Jameis Winston and Sean Payton finding something there, and that pass rush against that offensive line, I think, could be problematic for the Jets. Dolphins, I'm beating them. I had the Jets splitting with the Dolphins, but yeah, I did. Then the Jaguars versus the Jets. Number 1 overall pick versus number 2 overall pick. I'm going to have to give Trevor Lawrence a win here. It could go either way, really, but the Jets' secondary is just bad. I think Trevor could tear that apart, and although that pass rush could be good, I just like Jaguars' secondary to make more plays and that defense to make more plays than the Jets. And then Buccaneers, Jets, I'm going to take the Buccaneers. Tom Brady, they might actually be resting their starters. That's unfortunately something you can't predict. So, I mean, you could predict it. Once I get around to the NFC South, I might change this game depending on if the Buccaneers clinched and they're going to rest starters. If they rest starters, then I would pick the Jets. But I'm going to take the Buccaneers. Pass rush can get after it. They have a complete team. The Jets do not. So I have the Jets finishing last 4-13. They still have holes, mainly within their secondary. And their offensive line is improving, but it still needs work. And that receiver core is all right. Their running back situation is iffy. First-year rookie quarterback. They have a tough schedule, tough matchups, I should say. That's gonna do it for me, man. That's my AFC East. I'm pretty sure those are reasonable predictions. The Patriots one surprised me, but as I went through matchup by matchup, that's what I got with. So I'm confident with my predictions. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Comment down below, I subscribe if you're a subscriber or a new subscriber. Just hit comment down below, I subscribe, please. I want to see all those comments, all right? But thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe. Road to 400. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.